and I couldn't see how can this can connect. And I start to pray. Okay, give me women. And then I remember when I looked, my first leader, called Linda. Now she is a pastor in Curitiba. And I look at her and I said, do you want to be my leader? Because the Lord spoke to me that I have to raise up women, and you are a woman. And she said, yes. And I started to disciple her, and the things start to grow. I remember that I start with 4 cells in February. In July, we were 43 cells.
Wow.
And the things grow up, and on that year, it was the year in 2003, I think, that the
Explosion.
That we had an explosion in the radicals.
Radical kids.
And then in 2005, this is one of my leaders that I raised up. We have a net called Without Fronteiras, Borders. Without Borders. Can you pass? And the most funny thing is that I was really very young. And I remember one day, but I was so hungry that I couldn't be a part of Pastora Marcia. I remember I was, you can believe that, I was an English teacher. Oh, Jesus.
God is faithful.
But I was used to teach children. And I remember the day the Lord said, get out of this school. And then I said to the Lord, how can I convince Antonio? Convince? Can I say that?
Yeah.
And then I started to pray. And then I said, oh, Antonio, I decide that I will sell Jews. Jewelry.
English people marry.
Come on. Jewelry. Jewelry. Help me, should I cantar uma base? And then, but it was just an excuse, because I want to stay on the building, the church, the local church building. And I went there every day, and I stayed together with Pastora Max. I want to learn. And then they have meetings, and I asked another lady that was working, like, let me do in your place, because I want to learn. And then one day, Pastora Marcia called, there were 3 ladies working with her in the local church, and she called them to her room, and I went too. And I sat down, and she looked at me, and then she started saying, you know, I'm feeling in my heart that the Lord wants to raise up women pastors, because she was the only one at that time. And then she looked at me, I'm not telling to you, Gabriella, I'm telling to the others. And then I thought, but I'm here. And if I'm here, the Lord has this to me too. Yes, and then, because I was so young, can you imagine? And then my network started to grow up so fast that she didn't have any option unless to raise me up as a worker there in the church too. And then I remember the day that Pastor Luis go inside our room. We were in a big meeting with wives pastors, and he said, I'm going to consecrate it, the ladies that are working in the local church. And I was one of them. So I was the
First for them.
pastora mais nova a ser ordenada em toda a vida.
She was the youngest pastor ordained.
In the whole
ministry, in the
Vine.
whole history of the Vine.
Yeah.
Hallelujah! I was there. I saw it.
And I remember ask Lord a lot of times, Lord, why did you choose me? Because it's hard for me. Every time that I go inside a place to preach, to teach, I remember to see all the signs, look at me and said, what is she doing here? She's just a little girl. And I could listen. And every time that I preach, I know, I can see the eyes. I remember once I was in a city, called Campo Grande. It's a capital in Brazil. And when I arrived there, I was supposed to preach, and they called a man to take me at the airport. And when he looked at me, he said, "Are you the preacher's daughter?" No. And I said, how can I answer him? And one day I remember, I said, "Lord, why? Why did you choose me? You could choose another one with a better face, or more, you know?" We have an expression in Brazil that we call miudinha, that it's
Little one.
Little thing.
so little one, yes. And the Lord spoke to my heart very strong on that day. He said, "Because the glory has to be mine." And when the people look at you, they will say, "Oh, just a little girl." And then they say, "Just can be God." It could never be her, because she's just a little girl. And I remember that in 2007, the Lord spoke to me to write a book. And I nunca tive
idea.
isso.
I have no idea.
No, I haven't. Nunca tive esse sonho.
I never had this
I never had this dream. I never thought about that, but I said, I will put it aside. I don't want to do that, because if I write a book, nobody's going to read. Because I'm so young. And then the Lord spoke me the 4 principles. And He said that He's going to give me a sign. And I was in a conference, and then Pastora Mar started to preach. And she preached exactly the 4 principles that the Lord spoke to my heart. And the Lord said, I wanted to write it. And then I talked to Pastora Mar. She said, yes, we're going to write it. But on that time, no one writes book in the vine. Just Pastor Luis, Pastora Mar, and Pastora Maria had 1 book. And I said, that's crazy. Don't put my pictures on the book. Otherwise, they will look at the picture and say, oh. And after that, I remember when we launched the book, I remember many people come to me, are you sure that you wrote this? I said, yes. But you...
This Brazilian shape.
Yes, and you are so small. And after that, many people start to write. Because they thought, if she wrote, I can do it. And I remember some years later, the Lord spoke me through a prophet, a man of God. He said, I will give you dreams, big dreams. And when the people see these dreams coming through your life, they will say, but her, and they will desenterrar. Os sonhos que estavam enterrados.
To
Rise up.
Bring
alive.
Bring forth the dreams that were dead.
Yes. And then I remember the book. But in 2005, the end of the year, we moved. This is my last discipleship team in Goiânia. 6 of them are pastors now. And in 2005, we were one of the pastors that was sent to the capital of Brazil. And then we went to Curitiba. It's in the south of Brazil, but on that time, we have no vine church in the south of Brazil. In the south of Brazil, we have 3 states. And on that time, nobody knows Pastor Luizio. And we started from 0. And we were young at that time too, but we prayed so much. It was such a hard time there because we have to start from the 0. And that's my team. We were now in Curitiba, I think 6 buildings in Curitiba with more than 4,000 people there now. But I just
sow the seeds.
And they are collecting now. This is a lot of leaders that we raise out there in Curitiba. And then 2010, we were sent to another city called Ribeirão Preto in the state of São Paulo. And the church there was with a very hard situation because the pastor had committed sin. And when we arrived there, it was like a messy, and we had to start everything again. And I'm so happy. This is another mini leader that we raised up there, and we have more than 10 churches in near to Ribeirão Preto that we started, and we have a great team there now. And I'm so thankful to see what God did on that city too. So in 2016, oh, this is my last team. We had a party lá, the Century part.
The
21st century party.
20th.
20th century.
So you have to take the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. You remember the clothes? The things, it's getting worse, yes? The 8s at the time, but now it's 2000. Here we are.
Thank you, Lord.
Hallelujah.
And I asked the Lord again, why me, Lord? And I don't know. I really don't know. I remember when I was 16, the Lord spoke to my heart for the first time about England. But on that time was so crazy because we still had some missionaries from Europe in Brazil. So I was ashamed to say someone that the Lord spoke to my heart about England. I had no idea what God was preparing to us. And I can't be here. I know me. I don't have the strength or the talents. But I know, I always remember when the Lord says, you're just a little girl. That's why the glory will be mine.
Hallelujah.
And I want to talk to you today about